as Bitcoin is potentially breaking up towards 107,000, I'm going to be reviewing some potentially bullish astrology transits that are coming up. So stay tuned. All right, so take a look at this. Yesterday we just got, well, if we go on the weekly scale, we just got this beautiful weekly close, which actually, excuse me, is the highest weekly close we've ever seen for Bitcoin. Because if we compare to back in December, the weekly close only got to 104,000, but we just made the highest weekly close at 106,400, around there. And we are still, at least in the short term, we're still pushing higher. We are at 106,600, and there is potentially a lot of resistance around this level, which we've been seeing. I mean, yesterday's daily bar dropped all the way down to 102 before it actually got bought up. So that's very good, and closed the day at 105.5. And now we're heading up arguably to 107, but there could be some resistance there. In terms of the astrologies, that's what we do on this channel. We look at the crypto and the astrology. If we look at the Bitcoin birth chart starting on January 3rd, 2009, and I have the London, United Kingdom chart here. There's a debate about that, but that's what I have been using and has been quite accurate over the years. We're still above 85% accuracy on the predictions that I'm making. I'm not necessarily going to make a prediction today because things are just so hard to predict. But I am going to show a couple of transits that are coming up here. But first off, we have had this transit right here. You see 5/19. The May 19th, we had the Saturn sextile the Bitcoin Jupiter, which arguably is bullish. And that's right when we had this beautiful daily close. Well, we had a daily wick up to 107. And not so bad, right on that bullish transit. Now, is that going to be the local peak for now, or are we going to head higher? That is the million-dollar question. It's very difficult to say, but we did get that peak around that that bullish transit. And man, the astrology is not giving it's not giving crystal clear signals. But if we look at my previous predictions video for the month of May, we have these. Now let me clean this up a little bit. So this is the Bitcoin seasonality. We have the June month coming up, which is historically gets only $1.30 or 1.38% uptick for the Bitcoin price chart historically. So May is a bit more bullish than June. So let's hope that we can get a new all-time high in May, if that is possible. If we don't, there could be a little bit of a correction before potentially July historically is even better than May. So I will take that all the way to the bank. All right. And the other thing I want to look at is the astrology. Let's move this over a little bit. So I said the month of May, one of my previous videos, May 19th, Saturn is sextiling Bitcoin Jupiter on that May 19th, and we got that peak. Now we are getting May 27th, Mercury trying the Bitcoin Mercury. That could be positive, and Mercury sextiling the Bitcoin Moon on the 28th. Mercury is the planet of trade, so when we get positive transits with Mercury, that can bring positive momentum to the Bitcoin price chart, especially if it hits a sensitive area on the Bitcoin birth chart, such as the moon. So the BTC moon is that sensitive area. It's getting a positive sextile, so that's looking good. And then May 29th, Venus is sextiling the Bitcoin Neptune. We will take that as well. It's not super bullish, but it definitely helps. It's not negative. So we're getting all of these positive transits for Bitcoin the second half of May, really now and through the end of the month. So that is quite good. It's one of the reasons I bought some more XRP around $2.30. Nibbled on some Cardano in the around 74. But it's really tough to say because I mean these markets are extremely volatile. There is some market manipulation, I believe. There are market makers. There is Wall Street, trading, and so it's very, very tricky, very difficult to predict. So I'm making sure I still have 12% cash on hand in case we go lower, in case there's some unexpected volatility. But really, I expect more volatility. At least in terms of the astrology, possibly more likely in June, and we can go a little bit into that. Let me close this. All right, so one thing that's coming up in June is if we go ahead, we're going to take a look at this planet Jupiter and pay attention to when it gets to 1 degree Aries. So it's actually, 1 degree Cancer. So it's going to switch into Cancer. And once it gets to 1 degree around here, it's going to be squaring Saturn. Sorry, my throat is interesting today. So it's squaring Saturn in Aries, and that brings some tension. Saturn can bring more contraction, consolidation energy, where Jupiter wants to expand. So it's the kind of the tug of war, the squaring between expansion versus contraction. Now, the really good news is that this is the third time this has happened in the last year. So this is the third and final pass, and we're not going to see Jupiter square Saturn for a long time after this. So typically in the third and final pass, things can be a lot more positive, especially for markets and financial astrology and Bitcoin astrology. So I'm thinking this could actually turn out positive. So this is on June 15th, around there. The only tricky thing is then Jupiter continues forward and it's going to go to 2 degrees. And when it gets to 2 degrees, it's going to square Neptune. Now, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, squaring Neptune, the planet of, can bring deceptions, delusions, confusion to the markets. I actually, initially I thought this was quite negative, but I actually looked in the history books and I looked at, I used my software to check when was the last time that Jupiter squared Neptune, and I type it in here and we go all the way back to June 25th, 2012. So if we go to Bitcoin, we go all the way back to June 25th, 2012. And it should be right around here. I believe it's on this yellow line, approximately. And you take a look at this yellow line. Yeah, June 25th, 2012. We actually got it, Bitcoin, back then when it got this Jupiter square Neptune. That actually turned out really bullish. So I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but it's interesting that we got a mega pump during that time. So another thing to look at is these green lines, and that is when we had the other transit, the Jupiter squaring Saturn. So the last time we had that happen was August 3rd, 2015, March 23rd, 2016, and May 26th, 2016. And you see the confirmation where Jupiter right here is at 13 degrees is squaring Saturn right here. Okay, and when we put that on the Bitcoin chart all the way back in 2015, the first time, it got a dump, it was quite negative. Second time, just like kind of consolidating in this price range around $427. Imagine $427 Bitcoin. I guarantee at the time people were thinking like, wow, $429, that might be a little pricey for Bitcoin. But then it just skyrocketed after that. All right, so then we headed to the third and final pass. So you see 1, 2, 3 green lines. The third and final pass, we got a huge pump. So could that history repeat in terms of that correlated astrology with the Bitcoin price action there, where, it was initially kind of negative, it was consolidating, and then the third and final pass, it got an explosion in Bitcoin price. And if you see now, we got the first green line, Jupiter square Saturn. We did get a dump right after that, so that was a bit negative. Second time, we actually got a peak, but we were getting a dump during that time, so that was a bit negative, slightly negative. Third and final pass around June 15th. Could we get a big explosion? Now, the interesting thing is we already are getting a nice Bitcoin explosion here in price action. So it's tricky to say, like, maybe are we going to go like this and then explode out? Or are we just going to continue going up, up, and up, and up? I'm not certain. It's tricky, but it's interesting that this is looking, at least historically speaking, correlating the astrology with the Bitcoin price action. It's looking overall bullish. Man, and Bitcoin is at 106,748 right now. We're getting towards 107. If we can get past 107, you know, up in here, then that is going to be really good because there's potentially a lot of resistance around this 107 area. But when we get past that, there's not much more resistance, and it could we get a new all-time high here, man? That would be exciting. Holy moly. The next thing would be to note is it going to continue skyrocketing up? It looks like with the astrology, perhaps, I don't know, it's really tricky because the astrology is actually looking great the next 10 days or so. So maybe we could get an all-time high here. Very, very nice. And perhaps more of a consolidation in June and before another leg up. Tricky to say. What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to get a new all-time high in the next few days here? Next 10 days? Altcoins are looking decent as well. XRP's at 240. Let me know in the comments below what crypto you want me to cover next. I did come up with an XRP video. Take a look at my previous video. Perhaps Ethereum. Do you guys want me to come out with an Ethereum video? Especially since, you know, the altcoins really go off of what Ethereum's doing. When Ethereum has a big breakout, then the altcoins tend to do pretty well. All right, let me know in the comments below what you guys would like to see next. I think that's the majority of what I want to talk about today, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.